Welcome to TikTok Shop Insiders Podcast, your source for actionable news, trends, and strategies. If you want to build a thriving brand or creator presence on TikTok Shop, this is your essential listen. Let's get started.
All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to TikTok Shop Insiders Podcast, your source for the latest news and strategies for TikTok Shop. I am your host, Ivan. We have my good buddy, Pat. What's up, dude? How you doing, man?
What up, man? Long time no see.
Yep. It's been a month since we last had a podcast, so sorry for that, but extremely busy on our side. Growing clients' businesses, getting more clients, growing our internal team. Busy, but glad to.
We had our dinner.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we had our dinner. That was fun. Our wives had a good time. Yeah, you got it.
Yes. Yeah. Shout out to your wife for picking the restaurant and planning it because, they both know we would never be able to get to it ourselves. So they have to get involved.
Yep. So those who are interested, we had I gave a prize for reaching 10,000 downloads. This was happened, months ago, maybe. And then the prize was a dinner, right? Dinner for Pat and our wives to go. So we went to this Italian spot downtown San Diego, had a great time, talked and kind of reconnected, talked about kids and life in general. So right now I looked at it this morning, but I think we're at 16,000 downloads right now, approaching 17,000 downloads. So I don't know if it's every 10,000 download thing, but
We got 25 or 50 is a good benchmark.
100,000 downloads. Okay, let's do like a trip somewhere, like a camping or like a Palm Springs or something cool. Like that's on the You tried to sneak that in last time we talked. But yeah, let's go ahead and
all right, nice,
put that in. So cool. It's been a minute. We have some really good updates for you guys. We're gonna dive into GMV Max this week. Probably the number one question I've been asked in kind of all the groups and my interactions with people, it's like, what is GMV Max? How does it work? What's the best time to use it? The attribution's messed up. Is this really true? All that good stuff. So, that's for later on in the podcast episode. So, as always, we start with some news. This is news, but not necessarily in the kind of general TikTok Shop area, but our news is, we got a cease and desist, if you will, from TikTok, from our URL, TikTokShopInsiders.com. So, as expected, but, obviously SEO purposes, you want to get aggressive. I did plan for it. So our new URL is socialcommerceinsiders.com. So if you want to find, I think it's still under construction, but if you want to find, latest and greatest TikTok Shop updates and where to join the Slack group and all that stuff, how to contact us, it'll be socialcommerceinsiders.com. Kind of sunsetting TikTok Shop Insiders as expected, but the podcast will still be called TikTok Shop Insiders until TikTok tells us not to anymore. But we're gonna keep it there, obviously for SEO purposes and recognizable purposes. So
yeah, obviously we're not official like employees or connected with TikTok in any way. I think we have to add this disclaimer now to every pod, right? If we can appease the TikTok lawyers or whatever to.
Yeah, if you're listening to this TikTok, we're only just trying to grow the channel, so have some mercy. Cool. So a pretty big piece of news, kind of development in the TikTok Shop space is refundable samples. So traditionally, at least from my perspective, every update from TikTok has been kind of hampering the sellers, right? They're kind of restricting your messages sent. They're, making it kind of harder for sellers. This one's the first one that I can really recall that is in benefit to the seller, right? So Pat, if you could kind of go through what refundable samples are.
Yeah, so refundable sample, you can set up refundable samples in Open Collabs now, right? So the idea is you set up a product in Open Collab. You can set that product to have refundable samples available, and then you set the criteria on how a potential affiliate. So a potential affiliate comes in an Open Collab. They see a product they want. They would have to purchase that product as a sample, and then if they fulfill the criteria that you submit, typically it's like if you create a video and generates one order, you get that creator will get a refund on the cost of that sample. So, this takes away the risk of giving out samples for videos that don't result in anything, right? That's essentially the solution to that issue.
Yeah. So it's like all in the effort to get higher quality videos. I think they were noticing, and we obviously notice as sellers, it's like, or for our brands, is we send out 100 samples, and 20 of them are very, very, very low quality. It's kind of like them flashing the product and saying something and, putting it down, right? So now if they are required or incentivized to make a high quality video, aka get a sale, they're going to treat making that video different, right? They're not just going to flash it and leave, right? So the way that we are kind of walking about this or putting this into effect is, let's say we have 100 affiliates that are interested in partnering with us, right? Top 10% are just no-brainers, high GMV, high fulfillment rate, send the product for free. Now we have this middle bunch that are like, well, I don't know, their recent video history is low, their GMV is low, their fulfillment rate is low or lower than average. Well, let's ask them, well, do you want a refundable sample? You can buy it, and if you're really interested in the product and you think you can really sell it, well, we have this opportunity for you. So kind of not necessarily it's not a full blanket fix for the problem, but it is an added piece in the evaluation of affiliates.
Yeah, I mean, this is you hear it commonly in the affiliate like groups that they've been courted by this brand to like, hey, create a video, we want you to collab, and they send in the collab invite and they get rejected. And so this helps us have that second step now, before we were kind of like ghosting creators that might do that. So this is a great solution to that for sure.
Yeah, kind of expands it, higher quality, win-win all around. I think it's gotten a negative feedback from the affiliate community because I guess they're just educated, or like they're accustomed to getting free stuff all the time, right?
Yeah.
Which that's I guess the cleaning up the system. But that's going early.
There's potential for like people trying to game it too, which might not be the worst thing, right? Like if you still set the requirement to be one sale, fine. Somebody who wants to just buy it and then has a friend go buy it off their video, right, that's fine. You still get that unit sold, right? Added to your listing. So all in all, it's still a net positive, I think.
Right. All right. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Refundable sample, something for the sellers. Piece of news up next is TikTok Shop's dispatch SLA policy adjustments during the holiday season. Any info on that, Pat?
Yeah, I think the big thing was, when sellers were getting dinged for not meeting the 2-day delivery. Yeah, it was a lot of the times it was due to like, if you were using USPS, for example. So your warehouse did everything right. They put the shipping label, tracking code onto the product, and USPS just did not scan the barcode until like 3 days out, 4 days out, and then you get dinged, right, despite doing everything right. Now, the change is if you have a proper tracking code and you input it into the system, that counts as your 2-day SLA. You don't no longer have to wait for USPS to scan the code in order for it to count.
Right. So another thing for the seller. So cool.
Yeah.
Good to see that TikTok kind of moving in the seller's benefit. And it's right. Like this time of season, your delivery services are 10x their normal, flow of deliveries. So yeah, great to see that they're kind of thinking about that. Up next is customer messages. So this is kind of like a CRM system. So customer management, a relationship management system where you talk to people who have viewed your product listing or interacted with your product listing, as well as previous purchasers in the past, right? And a way for you to communicate with them, right? So traditionally, on Shopify or .com, it's abandoned carts or repurchase products, messaging to them, right? So this has rolled out to everyone recently, I think in the last 2 weeks or so. So take a look at your seller center, and it's called customer messages, and there's a handful of options there. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it's under the marketing tab on the left side, marketing customers. It has rolled out to everyone, but you have to meet certain criteria for it to be available to you. So the 3 things that they look at are the 24-hour response rate to messages. You have to be over 80%. You have to have less than 12 points, less than 12 shop violation points
Mhm.
and more than, some GMV, any amount of GMV over one, essentially,
Yeah.
get you eligible.
And a use case for this, especially right now, is Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Likely you have a sale. So you can message people who have viewed your listing and offer them, or let them know about your sale that you have going on, your promotion during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. That's the easier way, right? If they're on the fence, just messaging them is free. So why not just push them along the line for that promotion that you
Yeah.
have up already?
There's two sides of it. That's one side, and the other side is like the automated messaging that just automatically refreshes their audience. So if a user has entered into the checkout process and did not check out in 48 hours, it'll send them an automated message, and you can include a coupon with that messaging as well to close the trying to get that
Yeah.
checkout.
So it's like abandoned cart.
Yep. Yeah. Cool.
Cool. The last time or the previous pod, we talked about messaging limitations, right? How TikTok basically restricted how much you can message affiliates depending on your GMV, right? So at the 2K GMV level, you can message 7,000 messages per week. At the 50K GMV level, you can message unlimited. Between 0 GMV and 2,000 GMV, you can message 2,000 per week, right? So these are restrictions. A year ago, you can message unlimited and you got great numbers. Now it's like a fraction of that. So how do we deal with that? That was a big worry of mine a month ago when it rolled out, but we've since developed a strategy around that, right? So what do you think, Pat? What are some like initial things that we did when we thought about this strategy?
Yeah, I mean, initially, so for brands that are just starting out, you have to get at least that one sale in GMV just to unlock 2,000 messages alone.
Yep.
You can do this in gray hat ways, right? You find an affiliate. If you have an affiliate account, you just have to simply put that product in your showcase. You don't have to necessarily create a video for it and have somebody purchase it from that showcase, and that GMV will count towards that amount. So there's, I'm sure there's going to be things. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast about like potentially having a $2,000 item in your catalog, right? That somebody can purchase.
Right.
Do we ever talk about it on the
I don't think so, but I mean, there's a lot of different ways. I've heard a lot of different stories on how to go about it. But yeah, like Pat was saying, to reach that 2,000 GMV level, what if you had one SKU that was a $2,000 item and someone purchased it? Like that gets you to that next level, right? So just these creative ways of thinking. TikTok Shop's the wild, wild west. It is also very violation and ban heavy. So I would, your mileage may vary. Something that we haven't done. We've thought about it, but I've seen people enable it, and I guess it worked. I still see them up and running. One other point of clarification here. It has to be GMV generated by an affiliate. So it can't just be some like you going to your store and buying, because that won't show up as an affiliate GMV. And then another very important point is that Pat mentioned it, but it doesn't have to be from a video that the affiliate created. They can just put it to their product store, list it there, and you can buy it from the affiliate's storefront, right? So it doesn't have to make a video, but it does have to come from the affiliate. So we learned the hard way. It wasn't first like this. Like I think when it first rolled out, it didn't have that affiliate requirement. So we were like, okay, buy anything, right? But like a week later, we refreshed that page and it says has to be from an affiliate sale, and there was no communication of this from TikTok. Yeah, that was kind of surprising.
Yeah. Very quiet update that they decided not to tell anybody about.
Right. Cool. What else? Oh, something else that we do, or kind of a weird fact, but to get to that unlimited tier, you have to have 50,000 of GMV. We have clients that have not reached, or 50,000 a month in GMV. We have clients that have not reached that tier yet. It's only been, 5,000 GMV or like less, right? But they still have unlimited messaging outreach to affiliates. And it's kind of crazy. Like we've asked our AM, and it's like they don't know why that our clients who don't meet the criteria have unlimited. But but that's actually the case. So it's a weird fact that we have it. I don't know if it's because they're our clients and we were able to unlock it for them, but that's what we do. That's what we can. But it's definitely a large number. I would say like 80% of our clients are blocked for unlimited sends. So
Yeah.
why not?
And these brands all have like presence off of TikTok, right? Big Amazon presence, big D2C. Something else we've heard is like if they have a category manager assigned to them for TikTok Shop, that oftentimes will help. And that category manager has supposedly have the power to unlock it for them. And so that might be something there. So, anytime we connect somebody within TikTok Shop partners, we get a category manager assigned to them.
Mm-hmm. All right. Up next, the kind of the meat and potatoes of this pod is GMV Max. We mentioned it earlier in the very beginning, but one of the biggest questions we get as an agency and kind of interactions is like, when do we start GMV Max? What is it really? How do we know that it's effective, right? So those are kind of the questions that we get. And a little background as well. I'm going to toot your horn a little bit here, Pat, but in your previous lifetime, 10 years ago plus, you were the head of Amazon advertising for a number of brands. I'm sorry. So you worked at an agency. That agency was responsible for the Amazon advertising out of a number of brands, namely like huge brands, huge budgets, right? It's like Levi's, Robitussin, household names. So this is the Amazon advertising for this huge brand. So, I don't know how big your budgets were, but like huge budgets and, all that. So you're our ads dude.
Millions, yeah. Millions a year, yeah.
Yeah. So, it's, awesome to have you on the team and have that ads background. And now, obviously, by default, you're the TikTok ads guy. So I go to you for all our, TikTok ad stuff, how to implement, how to budget, how to, kind of set expectations, etc. So, I just want to go here with a couple of FAQs that I've received from people that have asked me, but like, what's GMV Max and why should brands be using it?
Yeah, so to run ads on TikTok, you have two options. One, GMV Max, and two is your custom ads through the TikTok Ads Manager side. Oh, I guess GMV Max is also on the Ads Manager side now as well. With GMV Max, it's a lot of automation, right? You essentially leverage TikTok's algorithm to pick and choose the videos and the audience that they pair those videos with. And then it takes advantage of all the shoppable placements that are on available on TikTok. So that includes like being in the TikTok feed, being in the search, being in the TikTok Shop tab, so people searching within TikTok Shop tab, and then just kind of videos appearing within the feed itself.
Question.
So yeah,
GMV Max, how does it get the videos or the content to use?
so it basically takes all of the brand's content that has the product tagged in it. So any TikTok Shop videos that are available from the brand. And then on the affiliate side, you can add, all the Spark codes that you've collected from affiliates, add them within the creative center on the ads manager side. So that's what we do is dump, the creative that we want to use in the ads manager. That tells GMV Max that these creatives are available for use. And then GMV Max will pick up any of those videos into its.
Okay. So in our process, we get 100 affiliates videos, right? And we get 100 Spark codes for those videos. Let's say half of them are good enough to use, right? They're not crappy, etc. We then put that into a bucket in GMV Max and say, hey, GMV Max, you can use these 50 videos with our 50 Spark codes and run it, right? How does it know what to run? What are some of the items that you input into GMV Max that know how much money to spend, how aggressively, etc.?
Yeah, so the settings so GMV Max doesn't have a ton of levers you can pull, like as opposed to like traditional, as opposed to the custom shop ads. In the custom shop ads, you can input your audience, you can input like the targeting, the interest of the people, etc. GMV Max does that all for you. It's automated targeting. So really, the only two things that you input into a GMV Max campaign are your daily budget and a ROAS target. Beyond the creative that you've already included, those are really the only two things levers that you have to pull.
So on the positive side, super easy. Anyone can do it. On the negative side, one of the questions I get is, well, how do I know now which video is performing the best? How do, if it's kind of a black box, if you will, right? Or a black bucket of ads, you're kind of just, you don't really know which one's doing well. Like, what's your answer to that when someone...
Yeah, that's definitely one of the challenges with GMV Max is you don't get a ton of visibility at the creative level. They don't, like, for instance, they don't show how much spend was put against each creative. The only thing you can really see at the creative level are product impressions, product clicks, sales, obviously, and then what what percentage of people viewed, the first 2 seconds, the first 25% of the video, like how far did they view through the video? And those are the kind of metrics that you can see and gauge performance of the videos themselves.
Okay.
Then you can remove, you can elect to remove any creative that, for example, has a very low click-through rate, right?
Okay.
So
that's a way of trimming the fat.
Yeah, that's
that don't work.
Yeah, really the only way to optimize the campaign is through creative optimization. Find kinds that don't work and cut them out.
Cool. So the main question is GMV Max necessary for today on success on TikTok Shop today, and why?
I would say so. GMV Max, in the conversations we've had with TikTok reps on their ad side, GMV Max is definitely for the brand that has already been established on TikTok for a while, has a decent amount of sales, has a lot of content coming in.
What's a lot of content?
So they've recommended to have at least 50 pieces of 50 Spark codes from affiliates that you can run in GMV Max, and then be able to cycle through them almost daily, right? So, top brands are inputting in 15, 20, 25 new videos every day so they can cycle through the creative and minimize creative fatigue. So if you think about that scale, right, those are brands that have been established, already doing a ton of affiliate outreach, already getting a ton of affiliate videos back, and then they're able to cycle through at that volume. Budget wise, they're probably starting at 500 to 1,000 a day for a smaller medium sized brand, and then scaling from there.
Okay, so this is kind of like established brands already kind of popping on TikTok Shop. That's the max of like operating at a high level. So let's take it on the other side. Like if I'm a cold start brand, walk me through that process. So one of our clients, like let's say they have 50 Spark codes that they've generated and it's good enough. Like what are the next steps for that brand?
Yep. So like we mentioned, you go into the creatives library on the ads manager side, input those Spark codes into the bucket so that GMV Max has affiliate content to pull from. Then you go back into the GMV Max, create the campaign, and then you're able to basically set the budget that you would want to spend, right? So there's actually two ways that you can run GMV Max, and there's a manual way as well that gives you a little bit more control versus having TikTok just pull the videos that you want. You can select, I think, up to 50 videos that you want the GMV Max campaign to pull from. So there's a bit of a manual way to do it. Most people just do the automated way because it's a little bit more simpler, and you want to leverage TikTok's algorithm because you trust that it'll find the right audience for your videos. So yeah, add all the Spark codes to the campaign, create the campaign itself. Then you will select the product that you want to advertise for. So structure wise, I will typically create one campaign per product, and then all the associated videos would be within that product. So if you have the second product you want to advertise, create a new campaign, and then TikTok will automatically pull the videos with that specific product tagged in it. So,
got it. How do you know what ROAS? So you put your budget, right? That's pretty self-explanatory. Yep, whatever you can afford, basically, or whatever you want to test with. But like ROAS is a little bit different of a metric. How do you approach setting a ROAS target?
Yeah, so the main lever obviously is your target ROI. TikTok will always recommend something for a target ROI that they think will have the campaign perform at its optimal level. I will typically start with that ROI unless it's like less than 1, really. So if it's above 2, I'll typically go with whatever TikTok recommends. But it really depends on the brand, the price points of the product. So obviously, if you have a lower priced product, it's going to be harder to achieve that target ROI for the spend that you're putting in.
Okay. So really, do you say to start high, start low? Where in that?
Yeah, I would start at least a 2 ROI on the more aggressive side.
Mhm.
If you want to be a little bit more conservative, start on the 3 to 4 because of the way that TikTok attributes GMV,
Mhm.
and that I think that's a big topic of discussion,
For
right?
sure. Yeah, let's go into that, right? So ROI is good. Now when how does TikToks attribute the data that they get from GMV Max is different than other traditional, platforms, Facebook with ROAS target, but also on Amazon, there's ACoS targets, average cost of sales. But that's that advertising. How much did you spend for that advertising? And then how much did that advertisement make? Right. So it's like a direct correlation. TikTok Shop is a little different. Explain.
So on the custom ad side, they attribute sales as you would expect, right? It's a 7-day click, 1-day view. So if somebody clicked on the ad, they ended up purchasing, that sale gets attributed back to that.
Cool.
GMV Max is different because it includes both paid sales and organic sales of that specific product. So
Okay.
if you're looking at a window, right? Say in the last week you spent $1,000 and the ROAS and then the GMV generated was, $3,000.
Mm-hmm.
In that $3,000 is our GMV generated for that product for videos that might not be included in that campaign.
Mhm.
It's overall organic sales of that product paired with the spend that you had in GMV Max, and that's your ROAS. So it's very different, and that's a big caveat to understand when
Mhm.
calculating the ROAS in the GMV Max campaign.
So if I may, so let's say you spend $1,000 on GMV Max, and you, like your example, you get $3,000 worth of sales.
Mhm.
That $3,000 is comprised of multiple areas of sale. One is through the organic sales that happened, and one is through the ad sales that happened. And it's kind of hazy, right? Because traditionally you're like, well, this ad spent $1,000 and it generated $1,000. Let's turn it on or turn it off.
Right.
Or it spent $1,000 and it generated $3,000. Okay, let's keep it on. But this is really hazy because it combines your paid ads spend or your paid ad spend and your paid ad sales with your organic sales that happen, right? So it kind of blurs that line of like, did this dollar spent in ads, is it working in general, right? So it's like, I don't know, because organics miss with paid ads.
Right.
Okay, right? Anything to add there? Is that
No, that's essentially the nail on the head.
okay? So now it's
Fuzzy.
now the question is like, well, how the hell do you know that your GMB Max ads are working, right? So if you could go into that a little bit, or like, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, general metrics that you should pay attention to is what's your overall GMV doing on the account, right? Like if you were formerly making only, $1,000 a day, and since you started GMV Max, it's jumped to $5,000 a day. You can generally attribute that probably to the increase in ad spend, but really the only way to know is turn on GMV Max for a week and then turn it off for a week and then see what the delta is between the two weeks.
Right. So 1 week you're spending 1,000 in GMV and you're generating 10,000 in sales, and that's organic sales and advertising sales. The next week you're spending 0 in GMV Max and you've only garnered 5,000 in sales. Well, now your ratio is 1,000 spend to 5,000 in sales that, quote unquote, you can infer that GMV Max has generated for you during that time period, right?
Right.
Definitely not as scientific or foolproof as you would want, but in this world, we kind of have to deal with it. And, yeah.
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 I think that's generally it. I think it's yeah, I mean there's really no other way to look at it. But if your overall GMV, like we kind of looked at it in a certain way in Amazon world, right? Like what's your ad spend versus your overall sales, whether
Tacos.
tacos, right? Your total sales divided by your ad spend. And that's kind of the same way you can look at it for GMV Max.
Cool. Yeah. So I guess quick kind of recap. If you're just setting up 50 Spark codes to get started, is kind of like what is is advised. You can obviously operate with less than 50, maybe 10, but your performance won't be as well, right? If you want to get started, low budget, I don't see why not.
The general warning that we've gotten from reps, the TikTok ad reps, is like, if you don't have enough budget, enough creative, it doesn't allow TikTok to spend enough to optimize the campaign, right? That's why they're recommending upwards of like $500 a day in budget over 50 creatives. And so that TikTok has more to work with, more data to work with, more videos to work with, and they can quickly find out which videos work and then optimize on that way.
Something about fatigue. What was that word? Creative fatigue or
creative fatigue? Yeah. So if you don't have enough content, right, people are going to see the same video over and over again, and obviously it becomes less effective over time because people tune it out the more they see it.
Cool. So, and then as like more advanced sellers, the idea there is to get that bucket of Spark Codes videos up as big as possible, continue to fill that bucket in with more Spark Codes to, like we talked about, improve that creative fatigue, and then adjust your ROAS targets as, your business needs. So yeah, I think another point here, that a very important point, is a year ago, you probably could have gotten away with just organic content and just get videos made, and it kind of gets into the system and, hunky dory. But as more and more brands are getting on to TikTok Shop, it's just that space is more valuable. So you need to supplement it with paid ads, paying to put your product, your videos into the face of the viewer. So it's all in all, to say, it's becoming more necessary per se in this TikTok Shop world. Obviously, over time, it will become even more and more expensive, etc. So it's important to get on there sooner than later. And
yeah, we're definitely seeing that now in the holiday season. They obviously, you want to try to run these during those peak shopping periods, so like back to school, whenever TikTok has like that summer sale. Right now, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, into the holidays. But with everybody advertising at the same time, like your CPMs are going to go way up, so it becomes very expensive.
For sure. Cool, man. Yeah, that was a very good conversation about GMV Max and ads on TikTok Shop. Thanks for breaking it down. Any other questions, please kind of let us know in our Slack group. Again, you can find us at socialcommerceinsiders.com, socialcommerceinsiders.com, the new URL. For join the Slack group, ask us questions. We're definitely open to all that. And yeah, man, that wraps up for today's episode. Reminder to leave a review. I've been reading, the handful that we have, and it's been pretty awesome to see. Cool. Yeah. Thanks, Pat, for your time today, man.
Yeah, no problem. It's always a pleasure.
All right. I'll catch you on the other side. See you, everyone. Bye.